Taste that. No seasoning. Oh, come on, Sharon. It's like rice pudding. Getting hell. God. We'll stop there. Yeah?
Okay.
That goes in there. Yeah?
Alright.
Alright, let's count down to the top 20 most disgusting dishes of Hell's Kitchen. Remember that time a contestant served actual dog food to the judges? Sayday's mistake wasn't just bad, it was legendary in the what were you thinking category of Hell's Kitchen fails. It all went down during the dog show planning challenge, where Sayday took the whole dog theme way too far. She genuinely thought the challenge was about cooking for dogs. Fully committed to the idea, she passionately whipped up a braised beef dish, carefully crafted for her four-legged diners.
Maybe not wine, because it's dogs.
Steve and Bryant completely floored. Speechless, really.
Sayday's not making too much fucking sense right now.
I'm going to do a braised beef dish. I'm going to cut it down into small pieces that they can actually eat.
It wasn't until Sayday noticed everyone else plating prawns and pork chops instead of pet chow that the horrible truth finally sank in. Chef Ramsay's face said it all when he saw her so-called dog food.
Am I the only one here? Or does that sound fucking ridiculous? Looks like a dog shat all over my plate. Blue team, whose dish are we dropping?
Sayday's.
Brutal. Viewers were just as stunned. Many called it the most humiliating dish in the show's history. The wildest part? She somehow missed the fact that her teammates were serving gourmet meals, not kibble. On the bright side, at least we now know what her pets get for dinner. The blue team lost, and the punishment was no joke. They had to set up the dining room and groom dogs from the American Kennel Club. Hopefully, Sayday's masterpiece didn't go to waste there. But Sayday wasn't exactly taking it well. She was so fed up, all she wanted was to get through the punishment as fast as possible.
For some of these guys, this is a reward and not a punishment.
Yeah, choose your good boy, huh?
Seriously, let's just get this over with, please.
She even got so annoyed that she thought about hosing down the red team out of sheer frustration. Let's just say it wasn't her finest moment. And then there's this contestant.
No, if you wanted it, you should have just told me. I would have did it. You
Oh, I've got to tell you what I want.
Yes.
Monique completely dropped the ball with her pasta dish. The moment Chef Ramsay tasted it, she nonchalantly confessed that the marinara sauce came straight from a jar, an amateur move everyone knew spelled disaster.
It's just from a jar.
But the real kicker? Either her gutsy attempt to sneak it past a Michelin-starred chef, or the fact that she seemed totally oblivious to how bad of an idea this was.
I don't think there's anything wrong with canned sauce. Unless you're from fucking Italy and you're like born as an Italian, you're not gonna be making your sauce from scratch all the time.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Monique actually tried to pin the blame on Chef Ramsay, saying he never told her not to use store-bought sauce. Seriously?
No, if you wanted it, you should have just told me. I would have did it. You
Oh, I've got to tell you what I want.
Yes.
But this next contestant? Oh, she didn't just mess up, she completely wrecked the entire dinner service. And honestly, that's just one example of the spectacular chef disasters Hell's Kitchen has served over the years. So let's talk about Sharon. She was assigned to the appetizer station, but smooth sailing, not even close. Right from the start, Sharon hit a rough patch while handling appetizers. And to make things worse, Jen Gavin wouldn't stop hovering over her, constantly nitpicking her for being too slow and all over the place.
No, you gotta saute onions and garlic first, just a little bit.
Yeah, let me do it.
And if you thought Jen was just being helpful, nope. She even nicknamed Sharon Barbie, and trust me, it wasn't a compliment. She was straight up calling her a clueless airhead. But wait, things got messier. Chef Ramsay asked for a time check on the risotto, and instead of a clear answer, Sharon and Jen blurted out two totally different times, leaving the whole kitchen in complete disarray.
How long?
5 minutes, chef.
5 minutes.
3 minutes, chef. Three. Three.
Who's on the section?
Yes.
I'm on
Yes.
the second.
No.
Chef Ramsay, completely baffled, looked around like, who's even running this station? Meanwhile, Sharon was barely holding it together, visibly fed up with Jen's constant micromanaging. Now, let's get to Sharon's actual cooking, or, well, the lack of it. When she finally presented her risotto, it was a train wreck.
Taste that. No seasoning. Oh, come on, Sharon. It's like rice pudding.
It was bland, mushy, and Chef Ramsay even made her taste it herself, and surprise, surprise, she had to scrap it and start over. But here's where it gets even crazier. Sharon actually tried to shift the blame onto her teammates, claiming they didn't remind her to season the dish.
You know what? That's not just my fault. And it's too bad that Chef Ramsay didn't see that.
And you know what? This time, I kinda get why Jen was so frustrated. Sharon was totally off in her own Barbie dreamland, I swear. Yet somehow, she still managed to push Chef Ramsay's patience even further. While tackling her second risotto attempt, Sharon suddenly noticed a random dish just sitting there on her station. And this is where things went from bad to straight up bizarre.
Which one are you cooking?
This one?
Whose is this one?
I don't know, I'll get rid of it.
Oh, come on, Sharon.
She had absolutely no idea where it came from or how it even got there. Seriously, how do you lose track of what's on your own workstation? Anyway, Chef Ramsay gave her risotto another taste. And let me tell you, it was a total train wreck.
What have you put in there? It stinks of garlic.
The garlic was so overpowering, Chef Ramsay had to literally rinse his mouth just to get rid of the overwhelming taste.
Sharon, enough's enough. I'm going to put some more makeup on. You get on there.
Yes, chef.
With that, he handed control of the appetizer station over to Jen. But Sharon wasn't ready to go down quietly.
Just because I look pretty doesn't mean I cannot cook. I like to look nice. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Got to hand it to her, she had confidence. But let's be honest, that wasn't going to turn this disaster around. The damage was already done, diners had started leaving the restaurant, and the service was a complete disaster.
What's the matter?
They're all leaving, chef.
What?
So yeah, it wasn't exactly shocking when Sharon became the first woman on the red team to get eliminated. Tough break, Barbie. This kitchen clearly wasn't your spotlight. Next up, we've got Kimberly from season 16, whose signature dish left Chef Ramsay completely baffled. Kimberly wasn't just a chef, she was an executive chef and catering manager at a Latin fusion sushi restaurant. Yeah, that combo already had people raising eyebrows.
Latin-infused sushi.
We do Latin-infused sushi. It's all about fun infusion, absolutely.
You'd think she'd go for something with a Japanese twist, right? Think again. Kimberly decided to take a completely different route.
So what Japanese delight do you have under there?
Absolutely nothing.
What? It's not a Latin fusion Japanese.
Her dish? Pappardelle pasta with clams in a rich tomato sauce. Sounds fancy enough, but the reality? Not so impressive.
It is a pappardelle pasta with clams in a red tomato sauce with lots of garlic and wine.
The moment Chef Ramsay tasted it, his face said everything you needed to know.
Kimberly,
Yes, sir.
that is a mess.
Despite giving it her all, she only managed to score a single point in the challenge. But hey, bombing the signature dish challenge isn't always the kiss of death. Remember Latasha from season 13? She served grilled watermelon of all things and still ended up winning the entire season. Of course, there's the other extreme, like Danny, whose grilled bananas were such a disaster, Chef Ramsay actually told him to shove them up his ass. Brutal. But next, we have two dumb chefs. In episode 10 of season 13, Ro and Aaron found themselves in serious hot water. The challenge, Indian cuisine. Ro stepped up as the red team's leader and went head-to-head with Bryant in the cod round. She presented a phyllo-wrapped cod dish that, well, completely bombed.
Okay, it's like eating a mouthful of wet tissue.
Yikes. Expectations were sky high, and Ro's dish just didn't deliver. Then came Aaron's turn, and honestly, it wasn't much better. Feeling confident, he proudly presented his lamb dish. But his creation? Let's just say it left everyone speechless.
I did a date chutney inside of the phyllo.
He had stuffed the phyllo with date chutney and mango powder of all things. The judges were clearly unimpressed.
Little seed on the dates.
Bizarre, the old chutney inside phyllo pastry. Very bizarre.
But hey, gotta give Aaron credit for trying something unique, it just didn't hit the mark. But this next contestant, oh, she didn't just mess up. She got kicked out after one night of pure chaos.
I'm so embarrassed. Get out. Get out. You lost.
Meet Sarah Baumert from Hell's Kitchen season 14, and trust me, her performance in episode 7 was a disaster from start to finish. Sarah was stationed at the meat station, and things went downhill fast.
It's just undercooked. Just, 4 or 5 minutes off. Lamb's overcooked.
First, she sent out raw beef Wellingtons. Then, as if that wasn't bad enough, she followed it up with lamb so overcooked it was practically charcoal. Chef Ramsay, oh, he obliterated her right in front of the entire red team.
Wellington are undercooked, that's raw in the middle, and the lamb is overcooked.
And honestly, she totally deserved it. Even Megan Gill was left wondering how Sarah had made it this far without mastering the basics.
Sarah, you should have learned how to cook before you got here.
T. Gregoire, being the team player she is, tried to help Sarah course correct. But instead of improving, Sarah made things even worse. She sliced right into raw lamb.
Go ahead, slice lamb.
No, why you told me to cut them. No, they're raw. You cut them and you see they're raw.
That was the breaking point for T. She completely gave up on Sarah and was convinced she'd wreck the entire service.
Sarah, no one trusts you because we cannot leave you on a fucking station and expect you to hold your own.
And guess what? She wasn't wrong. Sarah went on to serve oxidized lamb, Yep, gray and unappetizing, and chicken so tough it could probably crack a tooth.
Oh, God.
The result? Total kitchen meltdown. Chef Ramsay had seen enough and shut the whole red team down.
They're firing that. That's their last table. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tables to go. I'm so embarrassed. Get out.
Back in the dorms, Sarah whined about how miserable it was working with teammates who clearly couldn't stand her.
It's not fun to work with people who hate you. It just royally sucks.
But honestly, can you really blame them? When deliberation time hit, T didn't hold back. She straight up demanded Sarah explain her disaster of a performance, calling out her total lack of organization at the meat station. But instead of taking accountability, Sarah snapped back with some defensive nonsense.
Damn it, I know what I'm doing. I trained in France, but I'm gonna fight in front of Chef Ramsay. I do not want to go home.
And then, when it was finally her turn to speak up in front of Chef Ramsay, he tore into her. He reminded Sarah how she had single-handedly dragged the entire red team down and questioned where all her confidence was coming from when she had absolutely nothing to back it up. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for what came next.
It's not a proudness, Chef. I mean, I was trying to ask for help earlier today and...
So you ignored?
Absolutely, Chef.
Who ignored you? I need to know.
The entire team.
Chef Ramsay hit her with a total curveball, asking if she thought she could cook better with the men. And Sarah? Oh, she actually responded with this gem.
I know I can cook better with the men.
Yikes. You could feel the tension as the men just stared her down. But don't worry, they let out a loud sigh of relief when Chef Ramsay made his decision painfully clear.
Sarah, I'm not feeling it.
And even after Sarah walked out that door, Chef Ramsay still wasn't done. He made sure everyone knew exactly why she got the boot.
Sarah kept telling me she was here to learn. Unfortunately for her, I'm not looking for learners, I'm looking for leaders.
At the end of the day, he wasn't just searching for someone who could cook, he needed a leader who could deliver quality dishes on time. And Sarah? Yeah, she definitely didn't make the cut. We've seen chefs try to pass off store-bought food in Hell's Kitchen before, but Mike? Oh, he took it to a whole new level of bad. Mike doubled down, serving pre-packaged tortellini and canned tomatoes like it was some gourmet masterpiece.
It's a packaged tortellini, fresh tortellini.
Please tell me you used fresh tomatoes.
They were canned tomatoes.
When Chef Ramsay caught on and called him out for disrespecting the entire competition, Mike somehow made things even worse. He cursed Chef Ramsay out behind his back.
That's bullshit, bro.
Who are you?
And Chef Ramsay's response? Oh, he handled it with grace, just kidding. He absolutely did not.
You got anything to say to me? Say it to my face, not my back.
You got it.
And fuck off.
Next up, we've got an Indian chef whose attempt at her traditional cuisine crashed and burned spectacularly. During the signature dish challenge, Krupa Patel faced a perfect storm of nerves and pressure from the ticking clock.
Got a little nervous and I got a little frazzled, and it felt like those 45 minutes went by like that.
She was the fourth red team member to present her dish, and while she approached Chef Ramsay with cautious optimism, she had no idea what was coming next.
First name, and what in the hell is that on there?
The naan left him speechless, but not in a good way. His critique hit hard.
First off, it doesn't exactly look appetizing, does it? No, it's like you've got 4 bits of arse wipe on a plate, splat.
The spices were raw, the flavors dull, and the dish lacked any sort of punch. Chef Ramsay didn't hold back. He straight up called it crappa. Ouch. The harsh feedback hit Krupa hard. She couldn't hold back tears as the sting of failure sank in.
He thought of me as a joke. I'm better than this. I'm so much more better than this.
And the result? Yeah, no surprise there. Paul walked away victorious while Krupa was left with nothing but a painful kitchen lesson.
Congratulations to the gents. Good job.
Thank you, Chef.
Slam dunk.
Next up, we've got Louis Petroza, the runner-up from season 4, who served a dish that left Chef Ramsay utterly perplexed. The dish? A whole pumpkin. Now, before fans of Petroza get upset, let's take a moment. We know he was an exceptional chef, but even his biggest supporters can't deny this dish was, well, unexpected.
People ask me what my specialty is, but I don't have a specialty. I could cook anything.
He claimed that he didn't specialize in just one thing, that he was a well-rounded chef. But this particular dish didn't quite showcase that versatility. Chef Ramsay was genuinely confused, understandably so, because it wasn't just a pumpkin, it was an oily mess.
What is that?
There's a Cornish hen inside.
When Chef Ramsay picked it up, the Cornish hen inside the pumpkin was soaked in grease.
Holy shit. These are potatoes?
Yes, sir.
And how much grease and fat and oil did you fry in?
Chef Ramsay didn't hold back, he criticized it heavily.
The
That's a lot of butter.
We'll stop there, yeah?
Okay.
That goes in there, yeah? Oh my God. How did you get in there and eat it? I mean, am I missing a trick?
Petrozza explained it was meant to be a tableside dish and dramatically revealed a chicken inside the pumpkin.
Okay.
Oh my God. That's enough there, yeah.
That's enough, okay.
I don't think I'll get through all that.
Sadly, the chicken was dry, the pumpkin lacked seasoning, and Chef Ramsay's reaction was all too telling.
You had more chance sticking a candle in there, making me happy. For Halloween, you were sticking a pen in there. F off.
But let's be clear, Petrozza was one of the most humble and gifted chefs in the Hell's Kitchen franchise. His leadership, teamwork, and cooking abilities set him apart. Though he's no longer with us, he left behind many unforgettable moments, this pumpkin disaster being one of the most memorable. Here comes Jen, who walked in hoping to impress Chef Ramsay, but unfortunately, her cooking, or lack of it, became the center of attention in the worst possible way. Chef Ramsay took one bite of her dish, and without hesitation, he spat it out.
Oh no, damn.
The rice is raw.
Her risotto wasn't just undercooked, it was completely raw. Things took a nosedive when Chef Ramsay pointed out that she might not actually know how to cook, especially since she had a guard manger background. Of course, Jen wasn't having it and fired back with some attitude, which definitely didn't help her situation.
I think Chef Ramsay might need to read a couple of books. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and he has absolutely no idea who he's talking to.
Here's the story of a chef who got the boot for failing at Hell's Kitchen's signature dish. I'm talking about Janai from season 13, who completely bombed making the iconic Hell's Kitchen risotto. During the chaos of dinner service, Janai was stationed at the appetizer section alongside Ashley, but she was so fixated on perfecting her risotto that she became totally unaware of what was going on around her. She ignored her teammates' constant calls for help.
Janae, just let me know when to drop them scales. All right. And lobster. And lobster. Come on, how long you got on that too?
Deneen and Katie kept asking for updates on timing, but Janai's lack of communication left them on edge.
Janae, how long? I'm asking Janae for times and I'm not getting any answers. 45 seconds. Janae, you heard me?
Finally, when Janai sent out her risotto, it was a complete mess, mushy and overcooked.
Taste that! It's like baby food. It's mush. Janae is overcooked.
Chef Ramsay was beyond furious. Her risotto wasn't just off by a couple of minutes, it was a full 10 minutes late. Her next attempts were no better.
It's too soupy, and the lobster's raw. Raw.
The risotto came out watery and undercooked, and her inability to communicate only made things worse. Ro had to step in, forcing Janai to focus and finally communicate with Deneen. But by the time they managed to get their first appetizers out, it was way too late. Both teams lost that night. When it was time for nominations, Janai owned up to her initial mistake, but refused to take responsibility for the rest of the disasters. Chef Ramsay wasn't having any of it, and just like that, Janai was out. Here comes another signature dish that went horribly wrong.
That was not me on a plate. I'm just hoping that he gives me enough of a chance to stick around and show him that, I can definitely do a lot better.
When Chef Ramsay took one look at Lacey D'Angelo's dish, it was clear that it wasn't going to end well. His first reaction?
Holy crap. Whose is that?
It's mine, Chef.
Right, madam. Chicken and blackberries, where did that come from?
But here's the kicker. It wasn't some new inventive recipe. Lacey had actually served this at her corporate buffet. So how did Chef Ramsay respond after tasting it?
That's definitely corporate.
The flavor was so off that Chef Ramsay immediately spat it out, bluntly stating that anyone who dared to eat it would probably end up throwing up. Safe to say, Lacey didn't get the praise she was hoping for.
You serve, they eat.
Yes, Chef.
Straight after, they vomit.
Next up, we've got a chef who thought she could outsmart Chef Ramsay by banking on his supposed lack of knowledge about Indian cuisine. Spoiler, it didn't go as planned.
Northern Indian.
I believe, yeah, Northern Indian.
Her strategy? Create a dish complex enough to throw him off. But Chef Ramsay, being Chef Ramsay, flipped the tables. He revealed he had traveled extensively through India and was far from unfamiliar with its flavors.
I've been to India. I haven't seen food like that.
Enter Holly Ugaldi, stepping into the signature dish challenge full of confidence and determination. She had the charm factor working for her, but was ready to show off her skills in the kitchen. Things got a bit uncomfortable when Chef Ramsay grew a little too friendly with another female chef, and Holly couldn't help but throw in a playful jab.
I wanted to be first.
Fast forward to her dish presentation. Holly served a banana leaf-wrapped halibut. At first glance, it looked bold and interesting, but Chef Ramsay's reaction was less than impressed.
Now what the fuck is that thing there?
Halibut wrapped in a banana leaf.
Chef Ramsay dismissed the banana leaf entirely, which left Holly visibly rattled.
And that's your signature dish?
She tried to explain her inspiration, comparing it to an Indian dish, but Chef Ramsay wasn't having it.
It's like a classic Indian dish.
The final blow? Chef Ramsay said he'd never seen or tasted anything remotely like it in India.
I haven't seen food like that.
As for the taste, Chef Ramsay wasn't holding back.
I believe it's I messed it up a bit.
Holly admitted she'd made a few mistakes, only for Chef Ramsay to respond with his usual brutal honesty.
You messed it up a bit?
Yes, I did.
Being polite. Holly, that was a disaster.
In true Hell's Kitchen fashion, Chef Ramsay tossed her dish aside, calling it a complete failure. Holly's round ended in a loss to Benjamin, leaving her deflated but with a valuable lesson learned. Don't try to fool Chef Ramsay. Carrie Keep from Season 9 was the first Red Team contestant to face Will. She entered with a sense of confidence, ready to impress Chef Ramsay. However, when she presented her dish, Chef Ramsay's reaction was nothing short of stunned.
It is a chicken fried ribeye with Yukon Gold Mash and white truffle cream gravy. I actually have a little sugar in there.
The look on his face was a mix of confusion and disbelief, almost as if he were wondering how she even made it this far.
Stop, say that again.
I have sugar in there. That's what my mother always did.
Despite the shock, Carrie was confident Chef Ramsay would love her dish, claiming it was an orgasmic experience. When Chef Ramsay finally tasted it, he couldn't contain his disgust.
That is disgusting.
Her attempt at being inventive turned out to be a total failure. Unsurprisingly, she lost the round to Will. To make it worse, the Red Team ended up losing the challenge 5-6. As punishment, they were tasked with cleaning both kitchens for opening night.
You'll be preparing Hell's Kitchen for the opening, cleaning both kitchens. Got it?
Yes, Chef.
And so, Carrie's Hell's Kitchen journey began. But then came Scott, who took things to a whole new level. During the pork creation challenge, he selected a pig labeled sweet potatoes. While brainstorming, he suggested combining blood sausages with prunes.
Let's do together.
What are we gonna do with prunes and sausage?
We're gonna do like a nice sausage and we're gonna garnish it with prunes. It's the best thing.
Fran wasn't impressed with the idea. In the kitchen, Scott partnered with Maria but quickly took charge, irritating everyone around him.
How are you guys doing over there on the prunes? You gonna try and fry them?
Okay.
Siobhan, in particular, was frustrated.
Scott's definitely got a little bit of autumn in him.
I'd say take it out now, wrap it in foil, and let it rest.
I say another minute.
Do another minute then.
He needs to stop trying to put his 2 cents into everything.
When it came time to present the dish, the judges were shocked by its bizarre appearance.
I'm not pleased with the plate. That's why I don't look happy. I'm really, really not.
When asked who came up with the idea, Scott avoided taking responsibility, which irritated both Fran and Nilka.
Talk to me, Red Team!
Their sweet potato soup with ham hock was a flop, and they lost to Jay and Salvatore.
Congratulations! Because you just screwed your team.
As punishment, the Red Team had to clean pig pens and bathe pigs. What a disaster. Next up is JP, whose performance in the Signature Dish Challenge was pure entertainment.
It's going to be very hard for me to be away from my daughter, but I'm here, trying to win it, to give them a better life.
JP, thinking speed was essential, finished his dish a full 20 minutes early. Rather than refining it, he proudly announced he was done. Chef Ramsay, of course, was shocked.
Whose is this?
JP.
JP! What is this?
Chef Ramsay warned him that leaving the dish sitting would ruin it. Reluctantly, JP agreed to start from scratch.
I can redo it again real quick.
During the judging, Chef Ramsay grilled him about remaking the dish. JP confidently presented his Boston baked haddock with fingerling potatoes, haricot verts, and lemon beurre blanc. It sounded good, but Chef Ramsay's critique was brutal. The haddock was dry, the potatoes were tough, and the dish felt outdated.
The fish is dry. Potatoes are solid. And that looks like something out of the 1970s.
To make matters worse, Chef Ramsay reminded JP that he was the only chef to cook twice and still fail.
Plate early, overcook the fish second time round, and then send me undercooked potatoes. You're the only one tonight that actually cooked their dish twice.
The final result, a pitiful 1 out of 5. JP's overconfidence led to his downfall, showing that rushing in Hell's Kitchen is a recipe for failure. Next is Virginia, the 12th and final contestant to present her dish during the Signature Dish Challenge. Her goal? To wow Chef Ramsay. What did she serve? Hold on to your seat.
It's my coconut and pomegranate celery root salad.
Yes, it was a salad. Amid a group of bold, savory creations, Virginia served up something green and crunchy. But wait, there was a twist.
And what's cooked on the plate?
The nuts are toasted.
The nuts are toasted?
Yes.
Chef Ramsay's reaction? Pure shock. When he finally tasted her dish, he didn't hold back.
It's fine. as far as rabbit food goes.
Raw, crunchy, and completely unimpressive, it was far from the bold, flavorful dishes Chef Ramsay was hoping for. To her credit, Virginia defended her creation, claiming it was so unique that even a rabbit wouldn't touch it, thanks to the coconut milk. Well, she gets points for originality, I suppose. Attitude plays a huge role in Hell's Kitchen, and Colleen learned that lesson the hard way.
Say it again.
Chef Ramsay wasted no time, immediately comparing her dish to a diaper.
Okay.
Things got worse when Colleen revealed she trained chefs, but isn't one herself, a comment that didn't sit well with Chef Ramsay.
You seriously charge $300 to teach people how to make that crap?
After tasting her dish, Chef Ramsay spat it out, prompting Colleen to snap back and criticize his manners.
I teach manners too, Chef.
Chef Ramsay had plenty to say about that.
Okay, please, Miss Manners, fuck off back in line.
Last we have Antonia's Mardi Gras gumbo turned into a complete disaster, leaving everyone in shock.
It's a Mardi Gras gumbo.
Oh God!
As the third competitor from the red team, Antonia confidently presented her dish. Sure, it was a winner.
Every time I make my gumbo, it always gets eaten, and everybody loves it.
After one bite, Chef Ramsay turned pale and immediately vomited.
Excuse me.
Then came the shocking revelation. Antonia hadn't even tasted her own dish.
Have you tasted that?
No, I didn't get a chance to taste it, Chef.
So you cooked it and you didn't even taste it?
Chef Ramsay made the team try it, and the verdict was brutal, cat food, mud, and completely inedible.
Vinny, what was that tasting of?
A big bowl of mud.
Dear oh dear.
As expected, Antonia earned a big fat 0, tying the teams at 3. Her gumbo was declared the worst of the challenge.
Piss off both of you. No points.
The punishment? The red team had to clean both kitchens from top to bottom before dinner service.
Ladies, look at the mess behind you. Your punishment? To get those kitchens immaculate.
But which of these dishes would you rank as the worst? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And hey, this next video is a roller coaster you wouldn't want to miss, so make sure to check it out.